Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my makeup, having fun, maybe chit chat a little bit, but today I'm going to go over contouring and using bronzers and whatnot a little more than it's by request. So I'm just gonna dive right into it. Okay, so for the primer today, I'm going to be using the Tatcha Silk Canvas. This is the solid version. I showed the not solid version last time, the smaller like sample size. They are the exact same product. One is liquid and one is solid. So this one you just screw right off the lid, and it's a solid like kind of balm, and it has silk in it, so you literally just, it comes with a little scraper, get it like this. And so I just use my finger though, but you can use that if you want. I literally just put it on the back of my, and I use a lot. You're not supposed to use that much, but I do. So just do that, and you put it in your hands like so, and then you put it everywhere it needs to go. Where you have any more deeper pores, maybe drier skin, a little texture, you just kind of rub that in everywhere, and it helps with the longevity of your makeup. It really gives it a smooth canvas, literally like the silk canvas. There you go, everywhere you'd put it. And I do just have my little handy dandy mirror here. Make sure rubbed it in. Until I get some sort of setup that's like better, this is what we're working with. But I'm looking into getting like a better light ring and a there's a bunch of my thing. Like a table setup to be like other makeup YouTubers. So it's just better. I'll work on that. It's a work in progress. I don't know how soon that'll be. Everything costs money. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with my Hourglass foundation. This is the Hourglass Illusion Hyaluronic Skin Tint. It has sunscreen in it, but it's only like 15, which is like nothing. But I wear this in the shade Vanilla, which I'm not sure if it's their lightest shade. Maybe it might be. I'm kind of on the white side here. So I just always kind of put it out like this, and about this much should get you covered. I'm gonna go in with my Real Techniques sponge. It's already been pre-wet and everything, so I'm just gonna get in there and use this because the last time I couldn't really see what I was doing. This is a lighter sort of foundation coverage. I'm not usually somebody who likes a lot of coverage. I tend to use tinted moisturizers a lot. But I do have ones where when I just am looking for something a little more glam, or my skin's usually in decent shape, so I don't have to worry about like having to cover stuff up. But when I do want to cover stuff up, I tend to reach for the ones that don't show as much of your natural skin underneath. Okay. But moving on with the kind of like contouring lesson, the way that I contour is different. I don't use a contouring stick or a cream, and I do not I put on a base like this. I use like a foundation or a cream to completely wipe out everything, and then I go in with my bronzer, which is a powder, and I've got multiple different ones, and I can show you different ones, and I use that in conjunction with the blush that I have and a highlighter. and a bit of concealer, which I'll show you. I don't always use concealer, but I'm gonna use it with this one. Okay, that actually looks pretty decent. Okay, so there's the base. Just kind of, everything's flat now and all one color, which is where we want it when we're gonna change everything. All right, so for I'm gonna put in the concealer first, which is also Hourglass, and this is the, it's got numbers right on it. It just says Vanish, but the shade is Birch, and I do think this is their lightest shade. But then again, I use like the lightest shade in almost all of the foundations I use. So if I choose the same one, it doesn't do brightness, which is what I use it for. So I like this concealer because it has this interesting shape of the brush. It's like diamond, if you see that. See, like diamond shape. So I blend right in with the brush. Kind of the point, but okay. So and this whole thing works together for how I do contouring, because it's kind of a whole, like, trust the process, do it this way, and then it all in the end works, kind of like doing eyeshadow. But on this one, I always do it the same. So take this, and because of its shape, I just kind of go like this. And I don't really use a lot of concealer. I mean, it might look like a lot here, but I blend it out a lot with the sponge, and I only really keep it within a certain range, which is where you want to draw the attention. And I have always done, I don't want to say always because it wasn't like I started doing makeup like this, but it's just kind of like when you start doing makeup and then there's like the evolution of the makeup. Since then, I've always just kind of done the makeup the same way. And I know you might say, oh my god, this is so stark at first, but trust me, with everything together, it'll work in. You want to keep the attention in this area, and that's where it is. And then always is going to be brought this way. Back and up to draw it up. Because you can already see from this one, it's much more illuminated, and it goes whoop, and it's being drawn here. Okay, so same thing over here. And I will say that when I use concealers, that I do end up using a powder underneath, and I use that to stabilize the makeup. And one of the tricks that I use with the Hourglass ones in particular, I guess I should just say the reason I really like using Hourglass is because they have, like, I know it's going to sound real gimmicky, but it's like light technology, where they use specific colors and the way it shimmers and stuff like that to create almost like an illusion. And let's be real, makeup is an illusion the entire time. It's a creative illusion, and it's artistic, and it brings people a lot of joy, but it is an illusion the entire time, especially when you're trying to create a specific look. The more artistic and abstract you get with it, the more it is an illusion and fun and artistic. Okay, so I'm going to just stick kind of with the palette that I always use, right here, my box of palettes. All right, so, wow, that's gross looking. Okay, so it's gonna be this one, this Hourglass palette, and I'll open it in a second. It's the Ambient Lighting Edit, yeah. Basically, if you know anything about Hourglass, they come out with these palettes every year. So, like, here's one which is like a matte, smaller palette, like this. And then, oh, it's not the right one. And here's like the last one that I bought. I actually haven't even used it. So this one's called the Ambient Lighting Edit Universe. So it's a little different than the big one, the other big one. Get it open. Here you go. You can see all the different colors, and it has this part right here, which is this like almost like an all over the face sort of powder, and it's got multiple blushes, a strobe effect, which is their highlight, and then a bronzer. And I actually have not used that one yet, so I've kind of had it for like 2 years, haven't used it. But like this one, you can see I've had this one for a very long time also, and I mean, just look how pretty, and the way that they shimmer, and just, you'll see what I mean when I use it. But first, what I do every single time, I'm trying to think, do I want it to be that bright? I'm gonna go with no. I don't think I'm gonna do a super bright one today. I'll stick with the palette, at least for this purpose. Okay, so I've got my brushes here. Guess I should have taken those out to begin with, but here we are. Alright, so Hourglass has their own brushes, like it's like one of these. Oh my gosh. And then these ones. So I bought 2 of these. Oh my gosh. If you have a husky, their hair gets everywhere. So these are the 2 brushes that I use that Hourglass themselves has. And they're not labeled, so I don't know what they are. So I do know that this is the powder like brush that you use all over your face. This right here I think is supposed to be blush or something. I think this is supposed to be bronzer, and I think this is supposed to be like under the eye concealer, but I don't use liquid foundation like that. So alright, so I'm going to just briefly go over the bronzers that I have, because at the request of one of the followers, they wanted a bit more information. So there's going to be other things in here besides Hourglass. So just bear with me or skip forward or whatever. Okay, so obviously this one, like I said, this Ambient Lighting Edition in Sculpture is what it's called, has a bronzer. It's this one right here. And in this palette, it has it on the back where it doesn't come off, and it's number 6, and it's where is it? Yeah. Okay, well, it's number 4, even though it's listed incorrectly. It's Bronzer Natural Bronze Light. And that's one that I use quite frequently. Okay, and then this one here is a bigger one of the lighting bronzer. It just says Nude Bronze Light. It's kind of similar, it's just much, much larger. Like you can see the difference. Like this would be a good one if like you wait till the holidays and you're like, I've always wanted to use like Hourglass, but I want to try it all and I don't want to spend $50 on every single piece, like a blush, a bronzer, a powder, a highlighter, so on and so forth. So when you buy it as is, they're this big, and when you buy it like this, you can see the difference. It's quite massive when you decide that you like it and you like a color. But this is a very good starting thing, and like I said, I've had this one forever, so it really, really, really lasts a long time. Becca, I don't know if this brand is still available, but this is the Sunlit Bronzer in Bronzed Bondi, which is like a shimmery sort of bronzer. They do a lot of highlighters. And of course, then there's everyone's favorite, NARS, the Laguna. It's like a cult following. This one I've had for like a really long time too, and get flack for it probably, but all the mirrors look like crap, sorry. But yeah, this is like a very perfect sort of color match. It really goes for, I would say this is a universal sort of one, unless your skin is extremely deep. Then they definitely, I know that they have deeper ones that are like where if you're really looking for like a sun-kissed one, or your skin is really deep toned, then they really do have a much darker one. I used to know what the color was called too, but now I can't remember. And then I have 3 different Physicians formulas, so these are like budget ones. So I've got the butter bronzer in it just says bronzer. That's it. It looks like such. And then I have the the latte one, the butter coffee bronzer, which I think this one does smell like coffee. It does. And it's just this. You can see the difference between this one and this one. Similar, slightly different. There was like a latte imprintation like thing on top. It was like sparkly gold. That's what that was. And then the last one, which is the matte version, which smells good too, which is the lightest one that I have in the color light bronzer. It's, yeah. And a lot of them all come with like a little brush and mirror inside, in case you're interested in that and don't want to use a different brush. Okay, so moving back to that, I'm going to use the brush that I always use, which is the Shanny brush, the slanted finishing brush, the F22 to do it. And I'm going to go into this palette here, get the bronzer. I'm just going to pinch. The dog's name is Uno, and it just gets everywhere. Just kind of get in there, like so. Tap off any extra if I want to. And then, like I was describing before, the contour of the face, you want to go into where the light doesn't hit, where you want to create depth. So for me, it's like right here, where if you sometimes you can pull on your face like that and you'll see where an indentation forms, like right here. So you want to go from here, and I always want to lift the face up, so this way. So you can start at the corner of your mouth and kind of follow it, and it's like that. But it's always like an angle, like this. I mean, you can do it more drastic like that. And the other thing is that the closer you get to your mouth with the dark line from the bronzer or contouring stick, if that's what you want to do, it becomes more dramatic, like very. So I always kind of start, like I said, kind of look at yourself. You can find where it looks darkest and just kind of go in there. Just pat it. I like to do it in like a straight line. And I know a lot of people are like, why are you contouring with powder? Because it works. It just goes on top of the foundation, and it works for me. I mean, you can use cream if you want cream. Not everyone wants cream, at least not yet. I have never actually tried cream though, and maybe it's better. I'll have to look into that, I guess, at some point. Or if somebody requests it, I mean, you know, you're interested in a specific brand of cream, or you want me to try a contour stick, or give you a review on it. But you can see from here, look at that. And then when it comes to contouring your head, this was specifically asked about people with wearing wigs. Okay, so when it comes to wig wearing and creating the look here, I have a hairline. I just don't have a lot of hair. But you follow where your hairline is, or where you'd like to create it if you don't. It would be here, obviously, like you keep your face, and wherever you put your wig, you want to do it a little bit in front. It's okay if the wig sits upon it, but you want to keep it like that. So a lot of the time, you guys look right at my hairline, and I always kind of start in the temple up here, and I just kind of start patting it on in a way like that. Like you would, like, you're trying to, I wouldn't really say contour in this capacity. It has a lot to do with emulating, like the depth you're creating. You want it smaller, because at least I do. And so when you are trying to make something, if you add the contour or the bronzer, you're wanting to minimize the way that it looks. If you add highlighter, you want to accentuate it. So you're having to deal with almost like the geometry, the elevation, and the depth of it. So you're trying to create a vision that is different from what you have, and you're trying to artistically do so. on your face. So it's like artistry on your face, and you have to remember the perception of depth when it comes to light and darkness. So also there's the whole thing where it's on your face and you're trying to create a healthy, natural glow after you've washed it all out with the foundation. So what we're trying to emulate with the bronzer up in this area is the healthy glow that you would normally get from your sun with your skin being exposed to the sun and creating a tan. That is normally where you would do it, is the highest point of your head. And so you would normally always get it here, and people always get it down their nose and on their cheeks. But that's a different kind of look. That's like a sun-kissed look. But we are trying to make it smaller. We're trying to create, at least in how I do it, I'm trying to create a more feminine look, a more beautiful look. And so that has a lot to do with making certain features smaller and certain features bigger, or putting the perspective, drawing the eye in. Like, you want them to look at that. And a lot of times it's the eyes, it's the lashes, it's the lips. And so everything else needs to become smaller to drive you in. And so that is basically the artistic reason behind contour and bronzing. Well, I use them interchangeably, but bronzing is more like that summer look I was talking about, where you're trying to add bronzer and you're trying to deepen the look as opposed like into like a sun-kissed look, as opposed to contouring, which is trying to contour the shape of the face. But I use them interchangeably because I don't really contour. I do it the same each time while using bronzer. So, and then I add only a little bit for the nose part, which is where I just kind of do it on the side here, trying to minimize how far out the nose goes, because you can already see by looking at it that it looks like this side's smaller than that one. That's literally it. A smaller nose is generally looked at, perceived at, as being more feminine, more attractive, more desirable. That's literally it. But you do you. Be beautiful anyway, honestly. This is just the way that I do it. Okay, so I've done that now, and I know everything's kind of stark looking, which is, like I said, there's a method to the madness. Just kind of follow along. Just trust the process. Okay, so I like using this sort of brush, like this, for under the eye. It kind of has like a doe foot like appearance, like this, and I use this part, the doe foot, under the eye. All right, so for this one, still part of the contouring, at least in my capacity, I'm gonna go into this lightest part here, which they have listed as finishing powder diffused light, and I just kind of like wiggle it around in there. Whee! And then I put it under the eyes to kind of set everything in there. Just like that. Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to take just a little bit and go down my nose with it to keep it. And just a little extra here. Okay. There is one thing I am going to do, which I don't have in this palette, is I'm going to take the finishing powder, which I have to remember where I put that, because that's definitely not it. I went through and organized everything, and now I'm like sitting here wondering where stuff is. Here we are. It's like the big version of the other one where I said it's the all over powder, and this is the Ambient Lighting Infinity Powder. So it's just kind of like an overall, it doesn't really add, I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't add anything, because I feel like it kind of completes the look. It's like I would say it's a universal shade that adds like color correcting, and I use it to just diffuse the entire look. So I go in here and I just get some of the powder on here, and I just kind of really just go everywhere. It sets the loose powder and also diffuses the rest of the face of what I've already done. Almost done. We're gonna move on to blush. Make sure that looks right. Okay, so everything just has like a nice kind of glowy finish without being too crazy. Alright, so I'm going to go in with the brush that I like using for bronzer, blush, excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and go with, I really like this one right here. I use this one the most. I've only used this darker, like berry looking one ever so often. And this one is a Strobe blush. Oh, because it's got like a highlighter in it. Okay, so it's probably like, I do think it's really close to like the NARS Orgasm one. So, Strobe brush in Vibrant Flush, and I just kind of get in there, get enough. And with this one, I don't really want it like crazy looking, so. And like I said, when it comes to the contouring aspect, now that my face has been contoured, this is where your cheeks, you smile, they're in this area, right? However, when you're not smiling, the flesh falls. So when you apply it smiling like this, you put it all on the apple of your cheek, right? And then when you're done, it falls to here. So what we want to do is still create the illusion of drawing the face back. So that has to do with where you look at where the bronzer was here, and you want to just apply it like right above it in this fashion. See? Just like that. Same on this side. Really, the key to a flawless look, in my opinion, is lots and lots and lots and lots of blending. And there are also sprays that I like to use on top of powder heavy sort of looks, kind of like this. So one of the ones I like using is this Caudalie, I think it's how it's pronounced, Eau de Beauty Elixir. It's just kind of like an alcohol based spray, and I just kind of put it on there, and because it's alcohol based, it goes on and like dries immediately. Not quite done with the powders yet. So go with my fan brush, and I'm gonna do the, where did I just put that? Sorry, I've got like ADHD, I think, and I'm like scatterbrained a lot, so you're welcome. Quite the personality. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna go ahead and use the highlight that they have in here, which they've listed as Strobe Powder Glistening Strobe Light. Alright then. And it's this one right here. the other one is a different finishing powder, which is, I think, supposed to go in tandem with this one. And they're both like pinky purple based. And one of the biggest things is that if you go on their website, they talk about how their mother used to put pink handkerchiefs on top of the lamps in their house to create pink mood lighting, and that's always stuck with them. And it was said because that, like, they thought people looked better in pink lighting, and that's why they did it. And so it has to do with that whole theory, which I kind of agree with, which is why I've bought so much of their products. Because the first time I ever used the Infinity powder, which is this one right here, I looked in the mirror and was like, is that me? That's crazy. Like, which is so crazy. So, alright, so I still view this as part of contouring also, because this is the illumination aspect. This is where you're drawing things forward, and I can't really tell them this. But yeah, so according to my mirror, it's showing up. So the highlight, also, like I said before in my last video, is where it draws the face in, it illuminates it, it draws the light in, it's supposed to draw in the eye. You want to put it on the places that you want to draw people to visually. So I put it on this part of my nose as opposed to the sides, because I'm trying to hide the sides. And then I put it here to draw the face back and add illumination there. And then on the brow bone, but I also swoop that down to meet that in a triangle, like cat eye sort of situation. That's what I do. And then I also put some here on the Cupid's bow, which kind of need a bit more. Yeah, this one's more subtle, which I feel is more realistic also. And then sometimes I also take just a little bit more, and I really don't want a ton, and just kind of put it like this. Okay, so now I feel that when someone is looking at you, at least in this capacity, I don't have eyelashes or anything on right now. Let me mascara. But when they look at you head on, the center area of your face that they will be drawn to is here, your eyes. And everything else is kind of drawn away. It's kind of blended to the back. And this is where you want the focal point of the attention. So, yeah, that's what I see. It works for my face anyways. But honestly, I feel like it would work for everyone's face too. Okay, so moving on to the next step, which is I'm going to use this. I just kind of shake it a little bit, give myself a mist, so hold on. And I really get in there. I really get in there, and I almost like fully saturate it in a way, and that is to really blend the powders together so that it becomes very seamless looking, very, right? And I try not to move a whole lot while doing it. Like, obviously you can hear my wrists flapping around, but I mean my face anyways. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Good. Alrighty, so that is the contouring aspect, and I will finish this look. It's bothering me, so I had to fix that quickly. I'm a stickler for details, and I think that's one of my issues. Okay, so I'm gonna do... I'll stick with the contouring, actually. I will do a very basic eye look, and I'll do it the way when I don't really feel like doing anything, and I just kind of want to go about my day, and like I consider it to be a quick eye look. And so I'm gonna just go ahead and go right back into the Hourglass palette, and a lot of people are like, well, that's face stuff. Your eyeballs are on your face. Okay, so I'm gonna take the bronzer and create the crease like I did in my last one, but it is a contouring method also. Make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, okay. So I'm basically just contouring and adding the dark to the crease to add depth to my eyeballs, like such. Like I said, just stick along for the ride. And if you're wondering what the smacking sound is, I'm like smacking the pillow I'm sitting on, because with the brush, so we're all good. So just like on your face, lots and lots of blending. Like so. So now the crease is deepened. I'm not gonna do it like a crazy look. Anyways, it's supposed to be like kind of quick. I'm gonna go with okay, I'm gonna go with the lighter finishing powder right here, like the setting powder, and I kind of really pack it in there. There's quite a bit, and I'm gonna just put it here and use it like a highlight there, because it's lighter than the actual highlight they give me, to make sure that that center part of my eye continues having the light there, because there are certain aspects of your face that you want to remain being the lighter part, unless there's a specific eye look or something you're trying to do. So those parts of your face, for the most part, are going to be the high points of your face. So your cheekbones, the bridge of your nose, your cupid's bow, your chin, potentially, unless you want to minimize your chin, your brow bone, the center right here, this corner of your eye, like you want to illuminate that, and a little bit right here. Everywhere else you want to darken is going to be the things that you want to hide. So that's essentially like the blueprint when it comes to it. And then for the next color, I'm going to go back in with the actual like strobe highlight stuff like I used already, and just kind of put that on the eye there and repeat. And if you use your brush in a sweeping motion, it's not going to have as much impact as like a patting, like packing on the color or the product. there's that. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do lashes now. And I think I'll just stick with Hourglass for the moment. I'm going to use the Caution, oh, it's really reflective, Caution Extreme Lash Mascara. And it's basically impossible to read. And this is just in the color Ultra Black. You can see I've got quite a few different ones. I feel like most ladies like the option to choose. And so this is what the actual brush looks like. It's focusing on me and not it. There you go. I use my mirror to look at. I feel like that didn't have very much product on it. Let's try that again. There, that's better. Does it look like that? It's like it's not coating my lash very well or something, and I cannot figure out why. I don't know if you can see that. It looks real piecey. And I'm not, I wonder, it's almost like it needs to be brought in also from behind, which I don't usually put makeup on like that. Oh, now it looks clumpy. What in the world? I don't recall this doing this the last couple of times I've used it. Yeah, it's like it's really dry and creating like a super clumpy, like extreme lash. Extremely what? Terrible? Okay, I'm not doing that one on the other eyeball. Sorry. The other one that I do have is also Hourglass, so we'll try that instead. This is the Unlocked Instant Extensions mascara, also in Ultra Black. Please work better. This one's got a different brush, shaped like such. Yeah, this one's better. I don't know what the hell that was. Like, that's not even the first time I've used it. Like, I have two of them. Like, okay. So, do you see the difference? Because I do. Okay. second. Okay, so this one to me, besides the like mascara I got on my upper lid, because of course, is very defined. It's long. It doesn't look clumpy. On this one though, it's definitely just not as clean, which is disappointing and sad. I do not know what happened. Okay, so there's that. Whee! Okay, so I'm not certain what the hell happened with this one, and I was gonna say I'm gonna fix it with this one, but I'm afraid to put more of it on there. I would honestly, I don't know. Maybe you don't see a difference, but I do. So, oh my goodness, why are you not closing? Whatever, I'll fight with you later. Okay, so I'll clean up when this is not happening. How about that? Focus on what's in hand. All right, and so let's go with a lip, shall we? Let's try something fun. What do we think about this girl? And the Barbie movie's coming out, and this kind of speaks to me, right? Okay, so this is, wait, I can barely not see it. I think it's pronounced Ciate, Ciate, I'm not sure. It's an English brand, and this is the Jessica Rabbit lipstick, and it is a glittery, sparkly, just like Jessica Rabbit's dress lipstick. And this speaks to me on a personal level. Oh, is the glitter in it pink? Oh, it's like pink and gold. And the lipstick itself, I don't know if you can see it, has a texture like the dress sequins. That's so cool. Oh, it's a pretty lipstick. Okay. I'm not a big fan of lip liners. I'm not going to do it right now. I just don't feel like it. So, how I did the liquid lipstick before, I'm going to do the same thing, but with the stick. So I'm going to get up in here. Oh, it looks pretty. I would always say start off light and then make it darker, because it's easier to follow if you already have like an outline, but it's much harder to remove something that's like in your face. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. Okay. there's that. It's very Barbie-esque, definitely in my mind. Ugh. So there's that. Okay, just gonna throw a wig on to finish this one right here. This is, now keep in mind with the contouring with the wig and everything, this is what we're gonna do. Okay, so I've got, this is just the Raquel Welch Mesmerized in the shade Fiery Copper. It's got like a nice monofilament on her. And you can see up with the hairline and the contouring, it works. Even if, go, make sure I'm looking at the right thing. My goodness. Sometimes you put a wig on and it's perfect the first time. You're like, oh, yes. And other times you gotta like really finesse with them. Okay, yeah, I don't want it that far. There we go. Alright, so this is the finished look. So, what do you think? Just get up and try and look at it quick too, from a distance. All right, so like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.